You can still see young Timmy smiling in this picture, but we now know that this wouldn't stay this way for long. After his mother Stacy noticed something extremely worrying in Timmy's tent, police got involved immediately and they rushed to the campsite to prevent disaster. But what they encountered there would stick with Stacy forever. When Timmy sent her a particular picture of him proudly posing in front of his tent, alarm bells started going off in Stacy's head. She zoomed in to confirm her suspicions, but there was no doubt in her mind. She was sure Timmy was very much in danger. Because she could not get a hold of him, Stacy decided to inform the police so they could escort her to the campsite. She just hoped they would not be too late. Stacy is a young mother and recognizes that. Nevertheless, she aims to give her 6-year-old son Timmy everything she can even in her position. Stacy works several jobs to keep them both supported and tries not to let Timmy see how financially difficult things are. Timmy's father was never really in the picture. He and Stacy dated when they were younger, back in high school. At the time, she thought she had found the love of her life. When Timmy's father found out that Stacy had gotten pregnant by him unexpectedly, he left her. Stacy decided that she was not going to pursue finding her ex-boyfriend. She knew that she was the only one who wanted to keep the baby and he wanted nothing to do with him. It wasn't worth the stress of trying to find him. She got a job and was otherwise confident that she could raise this child alone. Almost 7 years later, Stacy is happy together with her son Timmy. He is her reason to live and she wants to be able to give him anything he asks for, within reason of course. Never once has she regretted keeping him. But their life has not been smooth sailing whatsoever since her ex left. Nevertheless, Stacy persists in keeping Timmy away from the knowledge as best as possible. Unfortunately, the small family can almost never afford anything that isn't an absolute necessity. Luckily, Timmy isn't asking for much. He is a very kind and respectful kid in spite of everything. He is very reasonable with his wants and desires. But there is one thing that he has wanted to do for almost 2 years now. He can't seem to get this out of his head, and he has been asking Stacy about it at every opportunity. Timmy wants to go on the yearly camping trip with his scouting group. Stacy was lucky enough to get Timmy into a state-financed scouting group that does events on the weekends. It is such a wonderful opportunity for him at no extra cost to her. But families have to pay extra for certain events like the 2-week-long camping trips. When Stacy finally had enough saved, she surprised Timmy with the knowledge that he was going to go to summer scouting camp. Timmy was absolutely ecstatic about the news. Stacy had purposefully not been very optimistic about the prospect to him, so it came as a big surprise. Timmy promised her that he would make the most out of his experience and that he would send his mother pictures every day. He then began planning what extra events he wanted to do and which friends he wanted to hang out with. Stacy, however, was beginning to have some concerns. While Stacy was absolutely excited to finally be able to give her son what he has been asking for, she was also nervous about being apart from him for 2 whole weeks. The longest they had been apart up until this point was only 2 days. However, she put aside her worries for the sake of her son's happiness. 2 months later, the time had arrived for Timmy to leave for camp. He was well prepared and full of excitement. He had been packed for at least a week and was constantly talking to Stacy about what he was going to do while at camp. Stacy kept reminding herself about how good of an opportunity this was for him. When Stacy went to drop him off at the bus that would take them to the campsite, she felt happy for her son, but she also had a weird, almost scared feeling. Like something wasn't right. Once Timmy was out of sight, Stacy allowed herself to feel her worry. She has had this feeling a couple of times before, and it was always followed by something bad happening. But there was nothing she could really do about it now. She wasn't about to pull Timmy from camp. She had already paid for it. The feelings of worry did not leave Stacy for the first couple of days that Timmy was at camp. She couldn't stop worrying about him and was very afraid that something would go wrong. Even though in all of the photos Timmy had sent her so far, he seemed to be having the time of his life. On day 6 of Timmy being away at camp, Stacy got sent a bunch of photos again, like what happened every day. Timmy didn't have a phone of his own, but he had coordinated with a friend to use their phone to send photos to Stacy so she would have updates on what was going on. And one of the photos had something shocking in the background. Stacy was scrolling through the photos with a big smile on her face. But that smile quickly disappeared when she got to one photo in particular. She looked at the photo closely and had to zoom in to confirm her suspicions, but she was absolutely sure that she was right. There was something going into the tent behind Timmy. Stacy could barely believe what she was seeing, but knew that she had to take action as quickly as possible. She started to panic but tried to calm herself down quickly. Stacy began to hyperventilate. Going into a full anxiety attack wouldn't be helpful at all, so taking a couple of deep breaths, Stacy focuses on the problem again. To her great frustration, the camp supervisor doesn't answer her calls. This only makes Stacy feel worse. If the supervisor wasn't answering, something already must be dreadfully wrong. There's nothing else she can do. She has to get to that camp to protect her son before something terrible happens. Of course, getting there would prove to be quite the challenge. She didn't have a car and there wasn't any money for public transportation, which probably wouldn't get that close to the camp anyway. Not too long ago, Stacy had befriended a police officer. She calls praying that he'll pick up, unlike the others she's tried. 10 minutes later, they were at Stacy's door. Stacy dashed out the door and into the vehicle as fast as she could, not wanting to waste any time. Timmy's life and others could be counting on them. With the sirens blaring and the speed limit being nothing more than a suggestion, Stacy and the officers raced to the campsite and arrived just under an hour later. Stacy was nervous for the entire ride, but kept herself together. Nothing could have prepared them for the scene that they arrive at. The camp is in complete chaos. Supervisors are chasing children who are running around screaming like the world is ending. Running up to one of the camp supervisors, Stacy attempts to talk to them, but they pay her no attention, more focused on getting the children inside. Stacy figures her best chance at finding Timmy is going into the central building with everyone else. Heading inside, she starts to panic. Searching the room, Stacy can only focus on one thing: her son. She sees several children, but Timmy is definitely not amongst them. Ignoring the shouts from the camp supervisor, Stacy blindly leaves the central building and runs outside, searching high and low for Timmy. Stacy forces herself to calm down and think about where Timmy could be. Pulling out her phone, she looks up the picture again and zooms in, this time on the sign outside his tent. In a burst of energy, Stacy sprints to the back of the camp. Everyone she passes yells at her to go back inside, but she ignores them. Roughly 100 feet away from her, Stacy can see the backside of a big brown bear. It's sniffing the ground and growling. This has to be the mommy bear to the cub she saw in Timmy's tent. But Stacy can't stop now. Timmy's tent is in sight and she had to get there before the bear did. Finally making it to the tent, Stacy dashes inside. To her relief, Timmy is there, but then her eyes fall on the other guest. Her eyes go wide and she feels ready to faint, but she can't lose her head now. Timmy and the others needed her. She just had to figure out what to do with this unexpected guest. Timmy's guest is in fact the bear cub that she'd seen in the photo. Timmy has been playing with the cub this whole time. It's then that it all clicks for Stacy. The big bear ravaging through the camp must be the mother bear searching for her baby. God knows how worried she must be. Stacy could relate. If the mom bear was searching for her baby, she'd eventually find them and Timmy too. Stacy had to do something. With the scent of the baby bear on the ground, Stacy can see that the mother bear is starting to figure out where her cub is, leading her directly to Timmy's tent. Knowing a mother's instinct, Stacy knows that the mom bear won't stop until finding her baby. It wasn't the smartest of ideas, but it was the only choice she had. Stacy orders Timmy to stay in the tent. Meanwhile, she picks up the baby bear and carries it outside searching for the mother bear, praying that it would be more focused on its cub than her. But where did the mother bear go? Looking around, she finds the bear not far away from the tent. As quietly as she can, Stacy approaches the mother bear with her cub. She put the baby bear down and backed away before calling out to the mother. Having gotten the mother's attention, she backs away as quickly as she can. The big bear, having heard Stacy, spotted her cub and ran straight for it, not caring about Stacy or others who might be around. Stacy rushes back into the tent to protect Timmy, not realizing that the bear isn't exactly chasing her. No matter, the bear is too close for comfort and Stacy isn't going to let it get near her son. Stacy and Timmy watched as the mother bear licked her baby for a while before together they stalked back into the woods. Stacy lets out a shaky sigh of relief and hugs her son tightly. Timmy can't believe his mom's courage. Holding her son, Stacy feels so much better, and it's time to find the others. Stacy picks up Timmy and together they walk to the central building. Inside they find the rest of the campers, supervisors, and her 2 police officer friends. It seems like everyone is fine, a bit shaken, but overall no one is hurt. Stacy holds onto Timmy tightly while he begins to talk before she can. Timmy begins to tell everyone the story of what happened, painting his mother as a hero. Stacy only corrects him on small details. No, the bear wasn't as big as a house. No, she hadn't wrestled the bear. But overall, the main points of the story get through and everyone is shocked, even the police. Talking with the camp supervisors and the police, everyone agrees it's a good idea for the campers to be sent home. It had been an eventful day, and with angry bears so close by, it wasn't safe for the campers to stay. The supervisors started calling the other parents to come to pick up their kids while one of the officers took Stacy home. On the ride home, Stacy tells Timmy she hopes he's not too upset that they had to end camp early. He tells her that while he'd had a lot of fun, he'd also missed his mom like crazy, much more than he'd ever admitted to in his messages. Overall, he's glad to be going home and Stacy's glad her son is safe.